Joining me right now is Lex Sokolin, and you are a Chief Technology Officer for Vanare, is that right?
I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Vanare, and then I was the CEO of Nest Egg Wealth.
All right, so in my community, Nest Egg Wealth was recognized as a potential robo-advisor solution. I think you had commented in your session there you were originally a B2C solution, but quickly recognized the opportunities in the B2B area and reinforcing advisors in their value proposition. So that's a lot to take in, it's a lot to say. And in your session today, one of the points that resonated a lot on Twitter online was, now that robos are so prevalent, there seems to be just commoditization of that technology or of that tool. And then you started talking about things that are next and what's in that timeline. So tell me about the thought process as you're creating a presentation like that.
Sure.
Why you chose to use this principle and platform to introduce Vanare and then talk about what's happening in the industry.
Sure. And there's kind of two parts to it, right? There's where are we today, and what's the, if you're a large organization or an RIA just starting out, what's the cool technology that you can have in place today that positions you for the intergenerational wealth transfer, that gives you a private label robo-advisor, that gives you a platform that works for the older generation, the younger generation. And so Vanare Nest Egg is that platform. We do all these things, and that's out in the market. And so I think a lot of folks can take it for a demo, take a test drive, learn about it, and get their hands on it.
Right, so that helps advisors meet table stakes, because table stakes are a little bit more expensive today with experience, with design, with clean onboarding. So that helps advisors today meet those table stakes, and then what's next?
Yeah, so that's the second part, is how do you actually think about the future? And how do you think about the future not from just a small solution point of view, but globally as a business, right? And so we have this concept of taking the robo-advisor DNA and threading it through our platform. And what I wanted to articulate is, what does that mean? You know, how do you think about things that are going to happen 5-10 years out in the future, and how do you bring design thinking to it? So one of the points is about, does your organization have a chief design officer or a chief innovation officer?
Probably not.
But maybe it should, right? Because something like 95% of the interaction between clients and advisors is happening through a phone. And you don't have a person that's expert in user experience, right? So that's a big gap. And so I wanted to go from there and explore some ideas, explore what's happening with wearable technology and with personal data, right? The idea that you're going to have, from your glasses to your hat to your boots to your jewelry, you're going to create a ton of data. All the video from just every day walking around and seeing things, all your photos, right?
I mean, we're creating periscopes, we've been doing pictures on Twitter, we're creating content just from this event that I think adds to the industry discussion, right? Your presentation is part of that to move the discussion forward.
Right.
So I see benefits with that, but it's also frustrating to get into some enterprises and some RIAs that just, I guess, choose to ignore it, maybe is a safe way to say it. Right? So when I look at the tweets, you know, blockchain technology, trust, social currency, how would you summarize your main takeaway from today's session?
Sure. My main takeaway would be that advisors, and regardless of being large firms or independent firms, whatever your business model, should be thinking about the intergenerational wealth transfer and the 60 trillion of assets, and thinking about how people will experience wealth management in the future. And part of that is going to be the blockchain, part of that is going to be digital currency, it's going to be machine learning and computer vision. And so these things that might be odd and outside the industry vernacular are actually hugely important, and they're going to drive change into the industry. And if you're ahead of that, you're just much better informed, and you'll be in a better position.
So I hear this as an advisor needs to bring in a professional, that design officer, that development officer who's paying attention to that, or they need to partner up with an organization, with a third-party provider who has their eye on those trends.
Exactly, and I had 3 slides in there which I think laid out. So at the very end, after all this future stuff happens and Marty McFly, comes in and out
On the hoverboard.
he falls in the water. But once he comes in, there's 3 slides, and the first one is, in the future, the advisor will be more and more a behavioral financial therapist. Right. So much more on the human connection, really understanding behavioral finance. And then number 2, they will be in a space shuttle cockpit of
That's
tools.
right.
Just huge capability where software and all these things will be automated, but they'll be in the cockpit. And then the third point is all that stuff has to be extremely simple and beautifully designed. And I had a picture of a self-driving Google car, which is cute and looks beautiful like a little sphere. Right, so you need to bring all those things together, and so that's why that robo-advisor DNA and having an integrated platform is how we're coming at it.
Right, I'm glad you brought those up, Lex. I don't know if I have the picture of the shuttle cockpit, and I don't know if I have the picture of the autonomous car, but it is a good analogy. It resonates with me because advisors, I think, are in the position today where they're being shown the cockpit.
Yes.
And it's intimidating. Where do I begin? What's the first thing to touch? And it's that partner, it's that design officer or that team that helps create that autonomous car. It's loaded with technology, it's capable of incredible things, but it looks pretty cool to sit in. It does not look intimidating, even though it has super powerful technology. I think that was a good analogy, and worthwhile to stress once again that I understand getting into that cockpit, it is defeating.
Yes.
And so I don't want to take the next step. But if I sit in a self-driving car that looks great and it doesn't look complicated and there's like a go button, I'm going to jump in.
And all you have to do is sit back, right? So that's my job, is to make that car be so easy.
I have to tell it where I want to go and by when I want to get there, which is kind of the guidance and the plan. I need to have a destination in mind. I need to have a timetable. Because I can't just sit in the car and it's not going to take me where I need to go. It needs to be human intervention and that roadmap which connects the dots from A to Z.
Exactly.
This is really good.
On point.
This is really good.
Cool.
Well, thanks for giving me that download and that digest. For everyone joining via Periscope, make sure you share the Periscope, do all the hearts. I feel terrible asking for it all over again.
No, definitely share and definitely recommend, and Bill's the best. So.
Thank you, Lex. So we've got hashtags lit up. Lex is on Twitter. He would love your interaction and engagement as well. So Lex, thanks for the download and the digest of your session here at the T3 Enterprise Conference.
Cool. My pleasure.